Yeah, both Caleb and Bona were full participants today.
Do you suspect that they're progressing towards maybe playing on Friday?
Yes.
Just I'm sure you've at least texted or talked to Eric since the surgery. Just how he's feeling. Just after that.
Yeah. Well, listen, first of all, the surgery went well. Very optimistic about how it went and how the recovery will be. He's obviously still trying to come to grips with it and all that kind of stuff. Very disappointed, etc. So feel bad for him.
I know you talked about this after the game, but with Eric getting back in the rotation and obviously making a couple big shots, just even maybe into the lead up to something like that. Like, what are your conversations like with guys like throughout a season about, hey, you might not be in the rotation at this point,
Yeah.
but we're gonna need you for this, or just like how do you sort of navigate that with players throughout?
Yeah, I mean it's not easy, especially as someone of his stature. You know, he's a really good player, had a long career. You know, and some of the conversation, most of them revolve around stay ready and I just never know when we're gonna try to get you back in there. But that is the conversation that we do want to get you back in there and make you part of kind of the original plans, right? So that was good. I think again I mentioned that somebody asked me about Eric the other. I said I listen. He's doing the right things. He's coming in on the off days and doing his individual work. He's out there and practicing hard and getting so I think that always helps the coaching staff. You know, when they see the guy is staying ready and obviously it paid off for him, paid off for us.
How important is Kyle Lowry's voice been like throughout all of this? The tough start and everything.
Well, he's still doing a good job of being that coach on the floor, especially in practice. He does a lot of organizing. I mean, I think you guys can probably note a pretty noticeable difference here lately of the organization, right? We're getting some weird out of bounds low shot clock. You know, we're getting to things. We're executing a bunch of things that aren't that easy to execute on the fly. He certainly helps with a lot of that organization and practice. And I mean, most of the stuff, not all of it, but most of the stuff he's run before, right? So he really knows like the little ins and outs of it, or the little tweaks to make a play really work. You know, there's little things you got to do to make some of that stuff happen. So he's certainly been a part of that. And I thought again he went in there and he does bring a little bit of uniqueness to us. He seems to be able to free players up. He's a great screener, right? He has a little bit of a synergy when Joel's in there. He has a little bit of synergy with Paul of getting those guys a couple extra touches. There's some things we can run when he's in there because of that. And then as always, he's a good late game inbounder, right? Which is important, right?
What's the prep like for Charlotte when you've seen a team 4 times now in pretty quick succession?
Yeah, I mean, we're able to get through. We can kind of skew some of the drills that we're doing. We're still doing a lot of drill work just on the basics of our defense, but we can skew them to start with some of their sets, right? To get just again remind them of that. Again, there's always things you want to do a little bit better, right? You got to try to. They got us a couple plays on some of their kind of pet plays. They got us a couple times out of timeouts, right? Talk through some of those. They kind of switched the schemes and stuff pretty drastically in the fourth, so we got to be ready for them to do some of that stuff earlier. So working on that stuff. It's all pretty good prep though, but you still like on a day like today can spend a lot of time just worrying about cleaning up our stuff, adding our stuff, putting wrinkles into some of the stuff we have in. Looked at a couple more new sets that we thought looked good. You know, from the other night, we run a couple little set play pieces out of timeouts, and then those can turn into more from once you get them to the practice floor.
As far as that offensive initiating, pushing the offensive line,
Yeah,
from in that spot going forward.
Yeah, no, he seemed like, you know, really comfortable and where he was at, and certainly aggressive to start. I think we found a few more areas and things we could do with him. We're continuing to search those things out, but again, I thought he got himself free a lot. Um, Made some really good passing plays as well. He's good. He's good at that. He's good at finding the roller, for instance, a little more than you might think for his size, etc. Pretty good in the pick and roll. But mostly we're just finding ways to get some actions going, and then he ends up with the ball, able to make a play, or he ends up with the ball with the space to make an offensive maneuver. Yeah.
Nick, on that note, with Chris Paul and Tyrese, they're going to have a big workload to share with Joel and Jared. What are some of the things that you guys have to do to make it easier for them to kind of share this heavy workload?
Yeah, we spent a pretty good deal of time on that, right? Again, you gotta work on all the things that pressuring those two guys that you see up the floor, down the floor. How you gonna get them freed up to have the ball? How you gonna try to keep not bringing multiple defenders to them? And a lot of that just is switching up, some of the actions to have different people in them. If that makes sense. So it's not always the same. It's not always the big. It's not always the four. You see it. You're probably noticing as well. We're doing a lot more small actions, even off the ball, which normally you say, oh, that's not that good. They're just going to switch those, but that's okay. Like we don't mind the switch. Like if they have to make 3 quick switches in a play, we don't mind that. At least we've got them moved off of who they want on who, et cetera, and then we can get into another type of action to try to create a little bit of confusion. Try to create some driving lanes, try to create some slip out shots, things like that. So just moving pieces a little bit differently. Yep. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.